is, if you will, experiencing everything afresh, everything anew, because if the observer or the feeling, whatever it is, the experience feels is now coming from a different place, let's just say. I would even say more of an evolved space, a more of a loving space, a more of a virtuous space, a mature space, a responsible space, okay? A comprehensible state, understanding, or to a certain degree, or whatever it is, an allowance state of being, of where you're coming from, then everything is afresh and anew, okay? And so that's what's kind of being asked in a way, is to let go of the old past narrative, right? The old you, so to speak. That which wasn't really even you was almost just it was just another paradigm. It was just another, it was a season, if you will. It was a growth stage of something or other, something, whatever it is. The you has always been there. The spirit, the unique individual spirit, has always been there. It's the same spirit that's there in your dreams, although the situation is radically different, right? In your dreams, when you dream at night, it's completely the opposite of what, And so, so you're seeing everything afresh, and now you can interpret things how you wish to. You have a choice to interpret your experience and reality and what you see, or what's going on for you, in the way more so that you wish. Okay? And this is very hard, because the old self, in a way, is still very, sort of cynical. It's very, sometimes pissed off, or which, the new self is also, but it's more like there's a less of a worthiness in the older self. There's a less of a worthiness, of a value in the older self. There's, the older self, I find, tends to lean more quickly, or assume, victimhood, or woe is me, or lack thereof, or my lack, not just my own inabilities, my own inefficiencies, my own flaws, my own shame, but also that which I have in the world. I mean, my own lack of being in a peaceful world, a loving world, loving relationships, or something like that, or whatever it is. The older self, in a way, sees it doesn't see more so, it's more of an emotional response to the world, and to reality, and to oneself, than it is, I would say, the I don't know if this is making sense at all, but the attitude of experience, the take of experience. Like, okay, it's all experience. You see, I'm having these emotions. Right? These emotions are happening to me. They're flowing through me. I'm feeling victimized. I'm feeling angry. I'm feeling frustrated. I'm feeling a lack. There's now a higher awareness, in a sense, which has made one more disengaged than they really were before. I mean, a lot of people that are still holding in the older self, in the old narrative, right? Which is the world now at large. The establishment is trying very, very desperately, and doing very well, I must say, at keeping most of the population based in the old self, anchored into an old reality of authority, of control, of that you don't have freedom of choice, that you are circumstantially based on its behavior, or something like that. You are a product of its behavior, of its conduct. That's what you are, and that's all that you are. Nothing more. Right? You are it, in a sense. You you are it. You're not just a part of it, but it is you. You see, and I think that's why the establishment is doing such a outrageous job at during this time that we are in of transformation, of transmutation. That's why it's such a heavy dose right now on humanity, because it's a deep, deep anchoring. It's that's why they wanting to create their own road show, their own mapping of the future, right, and what the future looks like, and where they want to lead humanity from the matrix level. It's a matrix upgrade. It's just kind of a software upgrade, if you will. Matrix 102 or something, a new version in a way. And that's what's given, I think, a lot of opportunity for those outside of the matrix or outside of Plato's cave or something like that to actually be able to witness what's going on from an observational point of view and be like, that's not true to me. This is not true to me. This is false. What's going on here? This is not loving. This is not genuine. This is not truth. This is not beauty. This is scandalous what's going on. This is horrific what's going on. This is diabolical in a way of what's going on, depending on how deep you want to get into the narrative, right? I mean, it in all its avenues of, oh my heavens gracious me. And so for the outsider, for the new self, or whatever it is, that which isn't being upgraded by the matrix, looks and is appalled, but is of also grave concern. There's reason to be concerned, but at the same time, it's not sinking its agenda into you if you are able to not be the old self, in a sense, to be. You understand? You're not falling for the narrative, and that's also another thing. You can't believe that other people are hook, line, and sinker. And I'm saying all the different narratives that are going on today, or have been going on for the last decade, and now have just been, amped up a lot. Like, you just can't believe that people will go along, be goose-stepped into this, new paradigm, this upgrade, and not, see or feel how debilitating it is, how marginalizing it is, how, disturbed they can't see it. And so because that's the only game in town for most of them. That's the only game in town. And again, I'm not trying to say that one has to be aware of the agenda behind the scenes of what's going on or what has been going on. I'm not talking about one who doesn't really have internet access or books on whatever it might be, certain subjects about the establishment or the way the world works, or conspiracy or something or other, or existentialism or philosophy or psychology or occultism or something like that. I'm not talking about that somebody, because there's different things going on. It's not just black and white. There's not just those that are awake and aware to the manipulation that's going on and the deceit that's going on, and that's one side of it. But there are people that aren't, but yet there are still people that are, I believe, good people that are still, this is the thing, are still trying in their own lives, have not given up, okay? And maybe they do, maybe they still very much are very unhealthy people in a sense, in body, right? And in mind, possibly as well. But at the same time, in their spirit, they still are good, in a way that what they do is they don't blame see themselves as a victim, right? They don't try their best not to hurt themselves or other people, directly or consciously, right? But they're good people, they're good-hearted individuals that know that goodness is the real currency of this world and have not become corrupted, but yet they are still watching CNN and Fox News and believing what it says to a certain degree, right? But yet they still good-hearted individuals, and so it's not all black and white. There's a lot going on here. There's a great divine opportunity and grand opportunity for a lot of souls on this planet, right? And it's a very, very interesting time. Anyways, so there is a real opportunity for liberation, self-liberation and freedom here. But it's not easy. Okay, it's not easy, and it's not promised. Just, it's there for the taking, but it's not easy. And it's requiring a lot of processing. Well, now, what do I mean by processing? For myself personally, it's about accepting the experience of life. That's what I feel that it's about. It's like through your trials and tribulations, through your highs and your lows, right? Through your heartbreaks, through your loneliness, through your despair, your desperation, through your sickness, through your health, right? Through everything, that you are willing to take come from a space and an allowance that it's an experience, whether it's been good or bad, up or down, whatever it might have been, is that it's the ultimate experience of being. Okay, and that you are on this journey, that you are a spirit, a soul that is on this journey, not just for this life, but countless existences, countless dimensions, countless, I don't know if there's universes, if you want to call it. Okay? And that this is just an experience, and the particulars of this experience will fade away, right? Will not, what do I mean? I don't know. Just as much as you don't know where your first cell phone is, let's just say, or even maybe your last cell phone, or I don't know, pair of tracksuit pants, your favorite tracksuit pants that you gave away, or something or other. I don't know the particulars. That's just on the physical, not because on this physical world is changing, but also the metaphysics of this world is changing. I feel time is changing. Time is definitely speeding up, or something's happening with time, right? So there's a lot of things are changing. The boundaries almost are dissolving. The boundaries, and don't know how to explain that. But again, I think the boundaries, what I mean, are dissolving, is in the sense is when you realize that there's almost like, it's not so much about past, present, and future, so to speak, but it's just one grand experience. So you're not really living in the past, you're not really living in the future, not really living in the present, you're living in all simultaneously, and that's hard to understand, but I mean, that's, I think, the Tao and the flow that one's involved in, which is, I think, a unique kind of experience, a unique time that we're in. I don't know, this is just, coming up for me. I don't know, maybe when you dream at night, you're just in the direct experience. You're not so much involved in the history, and what has happened or what's going to happen, so to speak. because the moment is so rich that you're involved in. So what do I mean by that? It's like, because again, once we have healed a lot from the past, and we're continuously healing from the past, but we've changed our attitude as well from the past that we came from. Before, it was like, we just felt that it was unnecessary, it was unkind, which it is, all these things, it is unkind, but ultimately it was the experience. Can you see that meaning tops everything, that the overall experience tops it all, whatever it might have been, okay? And so we've done a lot of the healing. We're not so much regressed or stuck in the past, where most people are stuck in the past. Most people have not grown up, right? Most people are still living in high school, right? They're still operating on social levels, on social arenas, whatever, friendships, relationships, whatever it might be. The way that they conduct themselves like they were when they're in high school, or even sometimes at a younger age than that. Okay, and so they still very much dependent on the system, and so that they immerse in it. They haven't done the healing, they haven't done the processing, they haven't done the growing, right? The evolving. They haven't done the taking of responsibility. They haven't been initiated, so to speak. Okay, so for them, like I'm saying, those roles and character, who they are, and the identity and the role playing, like how they were educated from the TV series Friends, of how to be friends, or from Kim Kardashian, and this is what you need to look like, and I don't know, Full House for the young, older generations, whatever it was, like this is what a house is like. This is, or the Cosbys or something like that. And I mean, this is going way back, but you know what I'm saying? Educated, all of that is what they need. They need all of that still. I mean, so to speak, they need the direction. They haven't evolved. They're still using it. What I'm saying, they're involved in it, and they're still using it, and they're still using their past, their upbringing, because their childhood self, because that's all that they have. That's what's kind of what I'm saying. But for the individual who's grown past it, you don't need that anymore. It's absolutely redundant, right? To a certain degree, because it's been turned into an experience. I don't know if this is making sense. It's the alchemy, right? It's like, I don't know, when you make a cake, let's just say, and you put the flour and the sugar and the eggs together, or whatever it is, and you beat it all up, it takes on another form. The object now is the cake. If you open the cake, you're not going to find the egg. You're not going to find the sugar. I mean, you can taste it, but you're not going to find it per se. I mean, maybe under a magnifying glass you possibly will, or I'm saying a microscope, maybe you will, but you're not inherently going to find it, because it's changed into something else. So it's not necessary to, I mean, now the experience is the taste of the cake, the shape of the cake, the color, the smell, right? The nutritional value of the cake, or something or other. That's the experience. It's like, so we've grown in all that's what we are, and now we can experience it all because we have, I'm saying, we've taken the past, our experience, we've taken our growth, we've taken our strengths, we've taken our virtues, we've taken our kindness, our love, we've taken our impatience, our despair, we've taken it all together, making ingredients, and we've arrived at this place right now where we are at, and it's an amalgamation of things, it's an ingredients, it's a recipe of things that makes you say, I am here now. I am alive in this deep, rich experience. And that's what I'm saying, is that the past isn't what it used to be when we weren't more so evolved holistically, come together, grouped together. Does that make sense? In ourselves, I'm saying. So before it was, it was a different kind of narrative, it was a different kind of experience. We were relating to reality now and existence on a different level. That's what I'm trying to say. and seeing things from more of a holistic level. Like, I think the world, the narrative of the world, what the establishment is wanting to do is for people to become very petty, right? Become very obsessed with the difference between a man and a woman, obsessed between the left and the right wing, obsessed between different colors, obsessed with the different religions or the different races or something like that, right? Obsessed with who has and who doesn't have, okay? And whatever it is, it's obsessed in the very much the petty things in life in a certain way, and they're beating each other over their heads with the differences in a sense. They're not in touch with the great experience of duality, right? Of the meaning of the differences in all of our nature, even the differences in a man's nature and a woman's nature, or a different, person with a different colored skin. There's different natures, there's different experiences. The one is more left-brained, the other one's more right-brained. Okay? There is differences, but they're trying to homogenize everything. Instead of us embracing those differences and realizing one culture is good at more on the physical, then the other one is more on the mental, right? Or the other one is a bit more emotional or less emotional, right? The other one's more calculated. The other one's more, nonsensical or irrational. It's all the differences that makes us. So, instead of that, it's breaking it down and getting all petty about it and trying to, in its own way, again, homogenize and make it all holistic in a sense and break that all down from those who have and those who don't have, so to speak. It's very tricky, all of this, of what's going on. But again, on the spiritual side of things, I think that the conscious individual takes it from a very much a holistic point of view and sees it all as the necessary parts of good and evil, of man and woman, of child and adult, of black and white, of sweet and sour, whatever it is, as the grand experience, not to mull it out and say, whatever it is, it's an experience. And what's the experience about? You see, we have used, I think, or consciously have used the experience to transform. It's to put that recipe together, to put like the cake, to put the wheat and the flour and the sugar and the milk and the whatever it is together, and not be like have the milk fight with the egg, type of thing, something like that. I don't know. It's not like that. It's a harmony. It's not the future fighting with the past, or the past, the future, the current, the present blaming the past, or the, or something like that. And it's the blame, and all this nitty gritty stuff that goes on, all the pettiness in a way, because it's minor stuff. We haven't evolved to accept it all for its unique differences, for its sweet and its sour, for its, for whatever it might be, right? The diversity, we haven't embraced diversity in a healthy manner. That's kind of what I'm saying. We haven't embraced diversity at all. The world has gone to war with diversity, natural, organic, authentic diversity, right? But for the conscious person this time now, like I'm saying, is that they've embraced all the diversities within themselves, the inner and the outer, right? That how I feel about myself is how I see the world, or the meaning that the world has. For example, if I see that I have value, right, then I see that the world has value. And that if I see that my experience has value, that life has value. You see? So it's like, and you can see that the world is an ugly place at the same time as a beautiful place. But you can ultimately see it as an experience. So you're seeing that, you're seeing the wholeness about who you are, your divinity, and therefore you can see the divinity in the world when you look for it. I mean, and again, it's there, but only when we are open to the magic. Only when we're sitting on the grass in the park, or in nature, or wherever it might be, in the shower, it's the subtlety of the organic, right? Of the, it's the sun that touches your face, through the curtain. It's the warmth of the wind, that you feel, or the coldness of the wind that you feel. It's the mountains. It's the forests. It's the insects. Oh, it's just even in this very moment. It's the comfort of yourself sitting in the chair, or the discomfort, of the heat that you might be experiencing, or something like that. It's the aliveness in every moment, right? And nature helps. This is what I'm saying, because it's what it's about. Nature is what it's about, and so it's realizing the beauty. That stops you in your tracks of a cloud formation, sun setting. These are the obvious ones, but if you are willing to look out for them and be present enough in who you are, you'll understand the abundance of the world that you're involved in. The abundance of having, being a part of this narrative, being a part of this story, of this existence, of the time that we are in, that you and I are in. You're a part in it. The abundance of, the blessings of it, the abundance of your being, right? And there is so much abundance and richness of that. I know I'm being a bit vague, but I don't know, your little space and time, wherever you may be, right? The abundance in your life, the richness in your life of things. And it's tricky this, because it's hard. It's, I think I'll start ending off. But, I can go to my fridge and I can take out an apple, let's just say, and I can bite down into the apple, and I know at the same time it's a GMO apple. I know at the same time, it's not organic, and it's sprayed with pesticides and herbicides and fungicides, and the soil that it came from doesn't have enough nutrition. It doesn't have a healthy topsoil. A lot of it, the nutrients and the fertilized, all chemical. I can look at that. And it's important sometimes to do that. Sometimes it's a reflection of my mood, which is also interesting and something, to observe as an experience. But at the same time, I can bite down into that apple and be like, I have an apple, I'm experiencing this apple. I'm experiencing biting into this fruit, right? That has nutrition in it, that has aliveness in it, that has life in it. Something that this planet has been producing for hundreds of millions of years, or something or other. Something of the energy that I'm something like that. You understand this, how much abundance there is in something. And so it's depending on your overall state of being, of how you're going to experience that. Some days you're not even going to, you can't really be present. It's very hard I'm saying on this level of myself standing and eating that apple. I don't do that. I can't, I'm stressed out most of the time. I'm irritated about landlords that haven't paid me my money back. It's 3 landlords now that are going on, or 3 separate, situations. That whatever it is, it's heartbreaking what's going on in the world today. I'm often in conflict with myself, that just when I'm trying to, I don't know if you ever had this, when you take out the garbage bag and you're trying to get, some wind in or something like it, you're trying to balance, I don't know, you're hanging something on the washing line, and you don't balance it properly, a pair of jeans, and it falls down and lands in, on the ground, and it gets dirty, and you're like, oh, it's just my day that I'm having. It's just like, it's almost like, it's deliberate in a sense, that deliberateness that, I don't know, you're trying to, I don't know, this happened to me today. I was trying to place, so it's hard to explain, but the wind kept on blowing at the very moment where I was trying to balance something, and it was just very frustrating. It was like, you're doing that on purpose, or something. It's like, well, you just can't reach that coin between, the seat of your car. I'm saying, you try to get your hand down the side of the car with your seat there. You just can't reach it, and you're really needing to get it. Or your phone slips while it's ringing down the seat of your car, and you just can't reach it, and you really are waiting for that call. And then you miss the call, something like that. And then you call the person back, and they don't answer, and you've missed it. And it's like, oh, damn it. And you're really something like that. So a lot of the time we engaged very much on a mental level, of course, because of the world that we're in, the stresses that we are in, the energy that we're involved around. And that's where I live. It's conflict a lot of the time. So a lot of the time it is a lot of conflict that's going on, right? Of my old self. There's a lot of my old self still, of course, And there's parts of me, but it's growing and it's changing and it's evolving and so on and so forth. But just to be grateful, again, it's not even appreciative. It is part of that, but just recognize the abundance. That's what I'm saying. Because again, so many times I will be grateful for this. Well, who am I grateful to? What am I grateful about? Again, appreciation. Absolutely, absolutely. I feel so blessed. But it's willing to experience the abundantness of your existence, of your experience, whatever that may be the abundance of pain, the abundance of pleasure, the abundance of loneliness, the abundance of longing, the abundance of love, of friendship, or from your animal. I mean, just think about if you have a pet, I don't have a pet, how much love you've received, let's say, from your dog, cat as well to some degree, but let's say your dog over how many years, the abundantness of it, right? So that's it. It's a recognition of the abundantness of your experience and who you are within that moment of experience. All right, folks, enough for now. Appreciate you listening and taking the time. Wishing you well. Take care.